Om Vande Shambhumumapatim Suragurum Vande Jagatkaranam Vande Pannagabhushanam Sishidharam Vande Pasunam Patim Vande Surya Shashanka Vanninayanam Vande Mukunda Priyam Vande Bhaktajana Asrayancha Varadam Vande Bhaktajana Asrayancha Varadam Vande Shivam Shankaram. Friends, a yogi is of clear expression. ABC of speech a yogi has. A for accuracy, B for brevity, and C for clarity. A yogi is of intuition. A yogi is of divya drushti. A yogi is of dirgha drushti, a visionary. A yogi is capable of seeing the future. A yogi is capable of reading the minds. A yogi is capable of planning for the future. Swami Vivekananda is a yogi. Even the very subtle concepts he is capable of presenting in simple sentences. When you read Swami Vivekananda, you will not have any doubt. There will be no ambiguity. There is no vagueness. Every thought of Swami Vivekananda is very clearly expressed in his sentences. Clarity of expression is because of his precision in vision. He is very precise in seeing things and he is very clear in presenting things. This Swami Vivekananda was in train from Chicago to Boston. In the train, he met that great lady who was his hostess, Miss Sanborn. She was very much impressed with Swami Vivekananda's oceanic knowledge and precision in expression, clarity of speech. They discussed many matters while traveling. One of the questions that she raised was, right from my childhood, I have been listening to the word sin, sin, sin. Ye the sinners, our religious heads speak of us as sinners. What do you think of the sin? What is sin? And Swami Vivekananda gave a beautiful answer to explain what sin is. In India, there are great writers. One is Valmiki Maharshi, who has written Srimad Ramayanam. Another is a great Rishi, S-VYASA, who has written the epic Mahabharata. And this Valmiki is supposed to be Adi Kavi. He is the greatest of all the poets. He is the first to write a kavyam. And this person, this great Rishi, Adi Kavi, describes sin, Parapedanam Papam. Papam is sin. Para means others. Pedanam means suffering. If we give suffering to others, either mentally or physically, it is sin. Parapedanam Papam. And I have my own definition. In addition to the meaning which Valmiki Maharshi has given, according to me, sin it is when we have a secret. Secrecy is sinful. Transparency is virtue. Transparency is merit. Transparency is honesty. Transparency is integrity. One has to be open. Every thought of mine should be made open. I must be bold enough, strong enough to express my thoughts. If my thoughts are ugly, if my thoughts are not pure, I will not have the courage to express those thoughts. Righteousness of thought, purity of thought is essential. Similarly, my words should be pure. My actions should be righteous. In short, dharma in thought, dharma in word, dharma in deed. This dharma is punya. Adharma is papa. Adharma is to entertain secrecy. What do you mean by secrecy, a person may ask. If a person is in the washroom, or if husband and wife are in their bedroom, it is nothing secret. They are all private. Privacy is different from secrecy. A foul thought, a vulgar thought, an obscene thought, a dishonest thought, a criminal thought is not socially acceptable, and therefore that has to be hidden, concealed from the public view. When we make it a secret, it is called sin. An honest person, a person of integrity, has nothing to hide. India stands for openness. India stands for honesty. India stands for integrity. India stands for transparency. The more a person has secrets, the more sinful the person is. The more the dealings of a person are transparent, the more virtuous the person is. Now, the sin is to convey secrecy. Secret is a sin. Miss Sanborn once again admired the wisdom of Swami Vivekananda. She took him to her house in Boston, and it was this motherly Miss Sanborn who took Swami Vivekananda to Professor Wright. This Wright is a great scholar. He was a great professor. He was very well versed. He was an voracious reader. He was holding a high position. This Professor Wright and Swami Vivekananda spent together in erudition, scholarly expression, debates of erudition, and they discussed many matters: Indian culture, Indian heritage, Indian civilization. And Swami Vivekananda very clearly explained each term. He was able to differentiate between civilization and culture. Nature consists of the 5 elements. When the external nature is controlled, when the external nature is tamed for the comfort of the body, it's called civilization. In short, conquest of the external nature is civilization. Conquest of the internal nature is called culture. Culture cannot be acquired in a day, nor can civilization. It requires several generations to come to a civilized state. It requires several centuries to be a cultured person. The bowels of the earth have the gold, but that gold is not readily available for the making of ornaments. The raw gold is to be purified. It is to be processed. It is to be made bright. Then only it becomes the bright shining gold. Similarly, the oils available in the earth are crude oils. These crude oils to be usable must be processed, purified, and then they become refined oils. Similarly, to be civilized or to be cultured, one has to be processed. Each individual by birth is rude. This rude person, uncultured, uncivilized person is to be trained in civilization, in culture, and that good training is Vedic culture. That good training is the real education. It is a life training. In India, there were great educationists and they were all great researchers. They are called rishis. These rishis have been in a position to evolve a beautiful educational system to civilize mankind, to make every individual a cultured person. External conquest is civilization, internal conquest is culture, and there are 5 elements outside to be tamed and controlled. There are 6 enemies inside to be tamed and controlled. They are Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Kama is lust. Krodha is anger. Moha is infatuation. Mada is pride or conceit. And you have Matsarya, jealousy or envy. You may look like a civilized person without being cultured. When a person looks like a civilized person without being cultured inside, one is a hypocrite. The inner culture, when it expresses itself in proper expression, that is real civilization. Most people today are civilized. It is not real civilization, it is hypocrisy. And a cultured person is naturally civilized. Here and there, they may ignore the external expression of civic nature. Culture is more important. In India, our rishis gave more importance to the inner evolution, inner development, yogic development, cultural development, whereas the Westerners have given more importance to taming the external nature and to be becoming civilized people. We in India have given top priority to the internal conquest. This can be seen in our mythology, in our scriptures, in our Vedic literature, in our Upanishadic literature. The scholars who have done the research, who have improved the mankind in the cultural path are called rishis, and that path is yogic path. A yogi is expected to conquer the internal nature. Internal nature is of 6 evils. And these 6 evils are to be overcome. To become a yogi, there are 2 things to be invariably performed. One is the ability to transcend the 3 gunas. First is tamasika prakriti, laziness. Second is rajasika prakriti, the self-centered, fame-oriented, luxury-oriented, dynamic nature. And the third one is the modest, humble nature, sattvic nature, when all the three gunas are transcended, one becomes a yogi. Similarly, there are six enemies: the anger, lust, infatuation, envy, jealousy, pride and conceit. These are all the internal enemies. They are also to be conquered. When we conquer them, we become yogis. And these yogas are of four types. One is the willpower Raja Yoga. When the will is strengthened, we will have the ability to overcome the internal nature. Next, we have the Jnana Yoga, wherein the intellect is sharpened, intelligence is brightened, truth is understood. That is Jnana Yoga, by getting which we become great yogis. Everybody is blessed with bhakti, prema, and when that bhakti or prema is purified, ennobled and divinized, we become yogis of bhakti that purifies all our emotions, that streamlines our emotions, that ennobles our emotions, and we become highly cultured. Raja Yoga requires to be translated into action, the ability to perform a duty with strength of mind, and the ability to translate truth into action, and that is to see truth everywhere, Jnana Yogi, and the ability to see that love in everyone, that is bhakti. When all the yogas are translated into action, it is called Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is intelligent action. Karma Yoga is selfless action. Karma Yoga is spontaneous service action. Karma Yoga is loving action. And these wonderful conversations took place between Professor Wright and Swami Vivekananda, and therefore Professor Wright wrote a letter of recommendation requesting Professor Barrows to give an opportunity to Swami Vivekananda to take part in the Parliament of Religions. Om Namah Sri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine